Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined as always by my co-host, Brian.
Hey, good sir.
Top of the morning. Hip, hip, cheerio. But as you can tell, we are here to talk the courtship. Now, obviously, we haven't covered the first 8 weeks of the courtship, but like we always say in our episodes, if you request something, we'll at least give it a shot. And we did have a viewer, Brian. Who was the viewer?
Her name was Desma Walker. She commented twice.
And told us a few weeks ago that we should look into the courtship. Now, obviously, we had a lot of other shows we were covering, a lot of Netflix stuff, but we figured, you know what? There's always a lot going on, but we need to give it a shot. And so off the top, we're going to give our thoughts of the series, and then we will go specifically into a few things here in episode 9. I like the show, Brian. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst thing I've ever watched for our channel. They do sometimes get a little too kitschy with some of the obviously the English courtship stuff, but overall I do like what the dates and the challenges and the stuff like that. And I do appreciate something different with the family and friends being able to actually be there off and on throughout the season. But I know you were the bigger pusher for this to, as far as the series. So I'm actually really curious what you think overall.
So my thought on the show is like, do I think it's going to get a second season? And that's kind of where I'm at. I just don't think it's going to.
I don't think so either.
It's like, it's interesting, but there's a lot of like filler, I feel like.
Of course. Yeah, definitely. I was surprised actually when I started watching this week. I was like, 8 episodes and there's still 6 people. I'm like, man, this is a long season.
Yeah, they brought in a lot of people the first couple episodes where like they would eliminate somebody, but then somebody would come in. So it's kind of just like a wash elimination.
I felt like we were watching The Circle.
Yeah. And where the show's at now, like, I don't know, the people she's gotten rid of the last like week or two. I just kind of I don't know. I just don't really know where she's going with Miss Remy.
Miss Remy, I mean, I agree, actually. The last few weeks, I thought that there were some really strong suitors and good guys sent home, and some of the people still sitting there, and we'll kind of touch on this tonight, maybe trepidatious, not really sure what they want. And some of those other guys that I think have been eliminated so far, there's a lot of things where they're like, oh, your attitude, you're smug, or you're this or that. And I'm like, yeah, but these are men who are confident in themselves. And I think this may come back to bite her in the end. So yes. I think we should get into episode 9. The Festival of Strength, Bri. I thought you would be a fan of this.
No, I enjoyed it. I always enjoy like some strongman competitions. Real quick, just before we get there, I don't know how you can keep any of these guys that aren't from America. It's never going to work.
No, like, is she moving to London?
Yeah. So wait, there's still the French guy or the
French guy.
Yeah. And yeah, I just was like, I don't mean to like cut you off on the
no
talk about it, but it's like that I didn't get that. Like, there's just been a couple like whatever. We'll get there. Hopefully, people in the comments. I'm expecting Desma to write a full
analysis here.
Yeah, like what she thinks, how the season's gone, because she's apparently the expert.
My favorite thing during the Festival of Strength was Mr. Cones for being the only guy with the dad bod, and he did pretty good, man. He put up a pretty decent show, and he didn't lose his first 150-pound squat rack thing with the big stone ball. And overall, I thought he did pretty good. I mean, what were your thoughts? Anything besides just like, hey, this is a nice, cool lifting thing?
I just think that the guys like, what is it, Mr. Judge?
Yep,
the dude that I kind of think is probably going to win this thing. If the guys that actually like he was doing like tricep stuff and like the people that were gloating, I don't think they would have lost if they didn't do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. If they didn't were showboating a little bit.
Right, because just because you're really cut looking doesn't mean you're really strong.
No, that has nothing. Being cut and strength has nothing to do with one another. It's
so that's right? Like when they're like, "Ooh, like I'm surprised." It's like just because there's a lot of fat linemen in the NFL who are very strong. It doesn't mean they're like just because they're flabby doesn't mean they're weak. There's muscle under there.
No, 100%. Another thing I thought was interesting, a highlight from this episode was that she got to take a bath with Mr. Bocchino.
Yeah,
must be a New York thing.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, bath with clothes on. That's the thing. Like the one-on-one dates, like I don't know. I just feel like they never really make a true connection.
I haven't felt like I don't think she's really super. I don't feel her having a super connection to really anyone. You could have some favorites who you think may win, but I don't see right now. I don't see like outside of obviously, and we can kind of transition into this. A big focus of this episode was Lincoln. That's our boy.
Yeah.
Was it Mr. Chapman?
Yeah.
Yep.
What a weirdo, man.
Yeah, that was something you would see on like The Bachelor, where like a contestant would say, "I'm not really feeling it," cry a little bit, go talk to the bachelor or bachelorette, and then resolve and say, "I'm going to stay," and it usually helps propel them. But like, I don't. What was his like? If you're, this is weird. Like my notes, it kind of changes because at first I'm like, yeah, it's all good, man. Like if you don't feel like you can say I love you or you think you're compatible, but not like on this TV show, like that's great. But then he took it too far and then he started making me like, I do love you, but I don't. I do, I don't. And she like the reaction of her, I mean, she was devastated.
Right.
Now, is that a clue into like how high up in the rankings he is?
I guess. I never really, I guess like he's the one dude that stayed overnight. The one time, but like my thing is the guy lives in a van. Like, how is this gonna work?
He said that.
Yeah, he cares more about van life. I have this written down. Cares more about van life than love. And I mean, I'm sorry. I don't care how good looking you think he is. He's got to go.
You're first of all, you know, your parents are sitting there too, and your friends. They're not going to let you pick the van guy. Look, I'm not anti the van life, but like you want to be proposed to and get married and have kids is what you were saying your goal is. And this guy lives in a van down by the river.
Exactly. Like I just don't get that. And that's just kind of where like the show, I don't see a future with it because there's just not, it's not as much as we hate on The Bachelor and things like that. Like there's deeper connections in these other shows where they're trying to find love.
I don't want to hate on Miss Remy because I think overall as a person, obviously she's a real person and like we know about her background and stuff. But like I think we need a more dynamic lead if this is going to happen again next year. You need somebody who's a little more scandalous and a little bit more going to dive into the drama of reality TV a little more than I think Miss Remy is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
three dances this evening, Bri. The dances.
The dance.
How long do they practice those dances?
Exactly, man. Like I don't know. Like
it's a lot of work.
I don't know. I just would expect more proper stuff. There's just not enough. Like even just like them like chilling in the house. Like that should be. Would you be able to wear those clothes?
No,
constantly.
Not a whole day, not all day, every day. It would be. I mean, I think it would be kind of funny if I could wear it for a day. Is like it's kind of like a theme costume party type of thing, but
not every single day.
You have
that neck scarf.
They're like up your thing like this. It's like, please. The three men who performed dances and were up for elimination: Mr. Chapman, who we've talked about, Lincoln, Mr. Cones, our dad bod friend, and Mr. Hunter, who is Dan. And we lost Mr. Hunter.
I don't know how she. I don't know. Like I can see why they don't connect, but how do you get rid of him before Mr. Chapman?
When he literally tried to dump you earlier in the day. Yeah. I don't know. And that this is like, it's funny, bro, because I've been like more on board with the show. And then tonight kind of got me a little bit like, seriously, a couple of the decisions and things made, even last episode too, with the people sent home. The last two episodes have turned on me a little bit because I just thought she had some really good candidates and idea of what she wanted. And it seems to have flipped a little. So I am curious to see, we have 5 suitors left. I'm curious if they're going to get down to a final 2 or if it'll be a final 3 type situation for the pick. But as far as the people left, I'm almost just going to go crazy and say Mr. Chapman is the favorite because goddamn, that was as close as he's probably going to get to getting eliminated. I mean, like, is she going to really eliminate him next week after all this?
Right.
I don't know.
I think it's Mr. Judge.
It's also a very good pick
because he just seems. She lives in Seattle. Okay, so the van guy can go wherever because he lives. Yeah,
because he can drive his van because he lives in it. Yeah.
The French guy's not. They're not. She's not picking the French guy.
Nope.
There's no way. And then what's it? Bociccio is New York.
The New Yorker.
And Judge.
You're being very logical about this. I like this.
You know what I mean? Like, and then Judge is in like I think he's in the Midwest.
So
he also lives in a town that he said like has like not a lot of people in it. So like
maybe he'll be down the dip.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. So I kind of feel like it's between the guy. I can't believe that we're saying this. The Van guy has like surprisingly
maybe a
decent
finalist.
odds, which is just crazy to me.
I wonder if like she picks him. It's like he sells the van like on the finale.
Yeah, they
Trades
just
it for a horse and a
like
carrot.
it's a van boat.
Trades it for a horse and buggy.
Right.
But overall, like I said, we are mixed on it, but we've committed 9 episodes, so we will definitely be finishing out this season. We're going to look out for some courtship fan groups and things like that, and I'll see if we can kind of get ourselves ingratiated in that community, and then they can kind of give us their opinions on things they like, don't like. Maybe it's been renewed already for the hell for all we know. We don't just haven't looked into it, but we don't like to find spoilers, so we try not to Google shows too much.
Right.
But for myself and Brian, again, if anyone ever has anything they would like us to watch, comment, shoot us a DM. This is exactly how this came about. So we may not completely love the show that's recommended, but we'll probably keep watching it because we do appreciate every single person who takes the time to even type out some comments for us. So for myself, Brian, and Miss Remy, thank you. Peace.